Hi everyone, I'm Ryoko, a resident of the Animator Dormitory. In these videos, I talk all about the everyday lives of new animators like me and what it's like to live at the new Animator Dormitory. Today, I'll be telling you about my life in July of 2020, 1 year and 4 months into my animation career. I make an effort to shed light on lesser known aspects of working in animation, such as our lifestyles and salaries, so please be sure to watch the whole video. The rainy season ended as July came. The cicadas began to sing, and the weather increasingly warmed. I was glad to see the number of rainy days decreasing, as I didn't have to worry as much about my headaches, and the dormitory kitchen, where I always work, still stayed nice and cool. Just by turning on the fan, I was able to stay comfortable and get my work done. I used July to continue key animation work on Skate 8 that I got in June. I started to work full-time on Skate 8 in June, and I stayed with the series for all 12 episodes. I worked on the project until February of the following year, so that's 9 months in total that I worked on it. Looking back, I'm reminded that anime is a product that makes an incredible amount of time to make. Drawing for Skate 8 was a lot of fun, and I wanted to see it through to the end. I actually pleaded to the team to let me keep working on it, and it was 100% worth it. It was the longest I've ever been involved in a single project, which made it all the more sentimental when I watched the show on TV. Though, thinking back, there were a lot of complicated cuts and climactic action scenes that I wasn't able to handle because of how slow my drawing speed was. Of the cuts I did do, some weren't drawn very well. And even after being on the project for so long, I wasn't quite good enough yet and gained a lot to reflect on. But there were cuts that the director praised me for, and I also got to do some key animation cleanup for some famous animators. Also, since the show is about skateboarding, I got to study the movements of great skateboarders. I even got a skateboard of my own and started learning. Skate 8 is an anime starring a group of high school boys. I was mainly put in charge of everyday moments rather than intense action scenes like when they're skateboarding. The director was very particular about expressing the characters' emotions, so I tried to draw their facial expressions and actions with more care and detail than usual. I put a lot of effort into drawing the actions and expressions of the characters to match those of a high school boy. If you get the chance to watch Skate 8, I'd be happy if you kept an eye out for those details. Also, outside of Skate 8, during this time, I got to work on a cut of the Vlad Love opening movie tribute, which was directed by Animator Dormitory supporter Kenichi Kutsuna. It was a cut of two people walking through shallow water, and the movement of the water and waves were quite complicated, so even though it was only one cut, it was a struggle. In the end, Director Kutsuna had to correct the majority of the walking animation. I felt out of my depth, but I also learned a ton. I got the job through a connection I made from the dormitory. Actually, it was a dormitory connection that brought me Skate 8 as well. Joining the Animator Dormitory gave me immediate opportunities to connect with senior and veteran animators, and from those connections, I've been allowed to work on quite a few projects. The reason why I joined the Animator Dormitory was that the studio where I got hired was too far from my parents' house for me to make the daily commute, and I was worried about the cost of living alone. Honestly, it was mostly about the cost. After moving into the dormitory, I often felt that I wouldn't have been able to live without it, and was super grateful to be there. However, outside of all that, through meeting peers and seniors at the dorm, those of you who support us, and my production managers, I receive work, as well as information from other studios about upcoming projects that I've taken interest in. These perks have been greatly helpful. If it hadn't been for the dormitory, my life as an animator would be completely different from what it is now. so I'm really grateful. And I hope that by working hard, I can express my gratitude to the many people who've supported me. My salary in July was $450. Compared to the initial spread of COVID, I was a lot busier with work this month. Considering my workload this month, my salary didn't really increase by much. It's been hard to reach my goal of $1,000 a month. This sparked some anxiety in me at the time. I was really worried about how I could steadily make $1,000 a month. I've talked about this in some of my early videos, but it's hard for new animators to make $1,000 a month. We call it the $1,000 barrier. I'm a lot faster at drawing now compared to when I first started working as an animator, and I'm able to handle more work. But my salary didn't increase like I thought it would. I was reminded at this time of how hard it is to finally pass that $1,000 mark. It felt like an unreasonable goal, as I'd have to work twice as much as I do now to accomplish it. I wasn't sure if making money as a freelancer was supposed to be this hard. 1 year ago, in July of 2019, I got hired at a certain anime studio and commuted to the office almost every day to work. My salary at that time was a whopping $180. Freelancers are bound to put in their invoices late, and depending on the time we get our checks, our deposits get out of sync, and the pay often doesn't justify the work. Even after a year in the industry, I still have to worry about money a lot. But by that time, I was mostly working from the dormitory and rarely came into the studio for work. A year ago, even after becoming a freelancer, I joined a studio on the premise that I'd be able to see the work of senior animators and have a better work-life balance. I did a lot of work during this time. However, after that year, I recognized that part of what drew me to working at the dormitory was the ability to work at my own pace from home, although being afraid to go outside due to COVID did play a factor in that decision. Being able to work freely, no matter where you are, is a big advantage of freelancing for me. And since I will need to leave the dormitory in the future anyway, I'd like to go back to my parents' house so that I can work on my own without needing to rely on the support of those around me and the convenience of living in Tokyo. That's all for this episode. What did you think? I plan on talking about August in my next video. Thank you for always watching and leaving comments on these videos. If you have any questions for me or about the Animator Dormitory, please leave us a comment below. Thank you for watching this far. The Animator Dormitory is funded almost entirely by your donations. For more information regarding dormitory crowdfunding, please click the links in the description below. Also, just watching these videos mean more support for animators, so please consider watching other videos too!